In today's show, we explore the flavours of Italy with Simon Gault. We learn about the power of non-verbal communication with human behaviouralist Elizabeth Herr from the People Toolbox. The Smarter Mortgage lady, Rachael Thompson, pops in with a tip on reviewing your loan structure. Then Anne Batley Burton, housewife of Auckland and animal welfareist, sheds some light on companion puppies for your pussy.
Puttanesca, pasta dish from Naples in Italy. It's a delicious, bold flavoured pasta dish traditionally made with spaghetti, but I'm using fettuccine today. Whatever's in your cupboard, it's going to work. Let's make it, but let's understand puttanesca. Where does it come from? Naples, yes, but it comes from the word puttana. And puttana is like the S word or the F word that they use in Italy. So it's a little bit naughty. It means whore. Kind of bad, isn't it? Because they say that this dish was made in the brothels. It was easy to make, it's cheap, but it filled people up. And they reckon if the blokes had it, it gave them a bit of energy. And sometimes the girls had it between tricks. It's super delicious. Let's get cooking. The first thing I'm going to do is get anchovies. Oh my goodness. A lot of people go, oh, why would I put anchovies? It'll taste fishy. It won't taste fishy, I promise you. But it's a key ingredient, but you can leave it out. But before I'm going to do any of that, I am going to get a pork shank into the oven at 180 degrees for 20 minutes. There's that pork shank out of the oven. It smells incredible. I'm just going to put it aside because I'm going to pull all the pork off that shank and we're going to put it into our pasta dish because we're doing a pork puttanesca. So the first thing I need to do is get a little heat on a fairly large pot, a pot of boiling water on there ready to cook the pasta, and we're going to put about 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in there. 3 and 4, doesn't matter if it's a little extra, that is all good. And I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of herb salt. If you don't have herb salt, just use normal salt. Herb salt's one of our biggest sellers at our deli to chefs, so that's ready to go. My pasta's in. The oil is not hot. We don't want olive oil to smoke, so I'm just going to lay these anchovies in there. Trust me, it won't taste fishy. You'll need to get anchovies for this dish if you're trusting me, right? So now we'll just get the heat slowly coming up on that, and these anchovies are just going to melt in there. We don't want olive oil to smoke because it becomes a carcinogenic olive oil and you get all the toxins coming out of it. But if it doesn't smoke, it's full of antioxidants and it's really good for you. See, they're bubbling away here now and they just start melting in there. And I've cut up some garlic, thin slices, sort of probably about 3 garlic cloves or the equivalent of 3 decent sized ones. So let's get the garlic cloves in there now. There we go. Now you could add some chopped up chili in there, and I'm going to do that. I'm just going to turn this heat down because I don't want that olive oil too hot. And you can see this anchovy just melting and slowly disappearing in there. Doesn't take long. Now I'm going to get some pasta in. I've got this beautiful fettuccine made with eggs, and I'm going to do 6 portions. 3, 4, 5, 6 in there. This will take 8 minutes to cook. 1 red chilli. I'm going to slice that up. You could leave it out if you like. There we go. Sliced chilli in just a little bit. And the other key is capers. And I've used salted capers. You just soak them in some warm water and then you strain them off. Get those in now. And the other ingredient is I've got these smoked Manuka smoked olives, and it comes with a juice, and I'll put that in. The juice will splatter just a little bit in that oil. There we go. I'm going to put these around a little bit, and you know, you can give your olives a little bit of a squash down if you like. And you can see in there now that all that anchovy is just melted away. We'll give the pasta a little stir up there. There we go. Now, I've got some Italian herbs, and in the kit comes the Italian herbs. So we sell kits, right? I'm not doing this for nothing, right? I want you to buy one of these kits. Well, that's the idea anyway. And we can send this all around New Zealand. So we get these Italian herbs in there. Well, that'll be the magic that really sets this pasta dish off. Oh, the smell is just incredible. And in the kit also comes the tomatoes, so they go in. All the tomatoes, just like that. Start giving that a stir up. Now we'll let that just tick away. Bring it up to just a very gentle simmer. The maximum you would want to cook this is about 10 minutes. And I'll chop up some parsley and a little bit of oregano. So whatever's lurking out in your garden or in your drawer in your fridge, whatever herbs you've got. But I like Italian parsley, a little oregano. If you don't have any of those, you could put a little bit more Italian herbs in there, whatever you like. So they are chopped up and they're ready. The kit comes with a wedge of Parmigiano Reggiano. It's been aged for 24 months. Incredible cheese. There's way too much in the kit for what you need. In fact, some people will put a little Parmigiano in the dish on top. Some won't put any at all. This is a brilliant dish for summer or winter. Bursting with flavour. A little bit of fire in there to give us some energy, right? For the from the chili. You could put chili flakes in if you like, or you could leave chili out, doesn't really matter. So I've got the parmesan ready, I've got a strainer and a bowl ready to drain the pasta off. So now what I could do is I could take the pork shank and I could just literally pull it apart. I'm going to take the pork shank and just, because it just falls off the bone. Look at that, moist and delicious. So I'm just going to pop that in there, pull it apart as we go. Look at that, just falls off the bone. One of these pork shanks comes in the kit. There we go. Now you could put tuna in here as well. Even canned tuna is fantastic with it. You could even put some prawns in if you wanted prawns, but I'm going for this beautiful pork shank in there. This dish, well, the kit feeds 8, so it's plenty of food. There we go, looks pretty good. Got some bones left there, and that is our sauce. I like to put a little cracked pepper in, so let's find the pepper grinder. There we go. And you notice I haven't put any salt in. I will taste it. It's unlikely it's going to need salt because that's why I'm getting the anchovy in there, and it just brings the flavour out of this dish. Oh, smells so good. The sauce is ready, right? So fast. So now I'm just waiting on the pasta, which, let me just grab a piece out. I want to just make sure it's still got a little bit of texture. It takes 8 minutes to cook this pasta. Still just a fraction al dente, and that's what I want, right? So that's good. I'll just strain this off in here, taking care. There we go. Get rid of all that water. And it goes. Now, the herbs. I'll save just a few to put over the top of the dish. And I can turn the heat off at this stage. Smells so good. And I'm going to grate some Parmigiano to sprinkle over the top. So I'm ready to serve. I've got some dried tomato to sprinkle over the top with the Parmesan cheese that's going to go over the top. Let's put it in a bowl, which we could just serve it literally like this to the table, really rustic. If I want to make it just a little bit nicer, find yourself a pretty bowl. And I've got a stainless steel one here. So now it's just a case of pour that out into there. Oh, so good. There we go. We'll sprinkle some of the tomato over the top.
If you're struggling to communicate with others, could it be your non-verbal communication getting in the way? Here to shed some light on the topic is human behaviour and non-verbal communication expert Elizabeth Herr from the People Toolbox. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much for having me.
So good to have you here. I love your work, by the way, and I just want to know, I want to start with, what actually is non-verbal communication?
Okay, so I think a lot of people confuse non-verbal communication thinking that it's only reading body language. And we all want to be good at reading other people's cues. But it's so much more than that. Non-verbal communication is anything that is not verbal. From how you speak, how you present yourself. And because we're beautifully flawed and human and beautifully flawed, we bring our own baggage. So firstly, nonverbal communication is a process of sending, reading, interpreting, and then responding to nonverbal cues. And you think, so what does that mean? It's everything that is not the words that we speak. So we sit here and I'm looking at the way you look at me. I'm looking at your posture. I'm looking at how you dress. So all of those things tell me things about you. But we kind of... not catch ourselves, but we trip over when we think that it's all about reading you. So I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, I'm so good at reading Monique, but I'm not aware of how I come across to you. So I'm sitting here, maybe I'm a little bit tired, so I'm kind of slouching a little bit and I'm yawning, and I'm not actually intentional about how I come across. So effective nonverbal communication can be a game changer for relationships, corporate, like everything where communication is involved.
And my understanding is that perception, so the way we perceive each other, is happening in a split second, right? So
Absolutely.
We're making judgment calls about each other,
yes,
not through just what we say, but how we are perceived by each other.
So our first impressions of other people, that happens in less than 7 seconds. So somebody new comes through the door, I look at them, and because it happens so quickly, most of our first impressions are non-verbal. It happens before the person says, hi, I am so-and-so, or before they even say something to Pete or you. So I look at it, and in my brain goes through filing indexes and cabinets and all those kind of things. What does this person remind me of? Who does this person remind me of? Are they tall? Are they short? Are they confidently walking through the door? All of those things. And because we come with our own biases, our own experiences, our own fears, we judge people not just based on who they are, but who we are in that moment as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get into this work?
Well, long story short, I have a bachelor's of social science degree, and I used to work in the mental health and alcohol and drug addiction field. And I've always been interested in human behaviour. My husband and I are very big on good communication and profiling, so we'll be the couple that's sitting in the restaurant going, that's their first date, and she's not so into him, and they just had a fight, that kind of thing. And so I've always been interested in upskilling in that area. And then I stopped working when we had our children, and I home educated them. And when they got to high school age, I really wanted to incorporate a really good communications curriculum as part of our homeschooling thing. And I looked for it online, and I found this body language introduction course. And I thought, something I've always been interested in. If I can do something I'm keen on and wanting to teach the kids something, win-win. So I did the course and I absolutely loved it. So I taught the children that. Still don't know if it was a good idea because I can't get away with much at all. And so I did one more course and another, and I just thought, I have to just not learn it, but incorporate it in my everyday life. And it's changed my world so much because I used to be a textbook introvert. I hated going to parties.
Wow.
I literally would go to an event and find a corner that I can sit and blend in with and just be invisible. And this has changed the landscape of my social interactions, really.
Wow.
And I've really wanted to, if I could do it, you can do it type thing, kind of share that kind of skill and the life change that I've experienced to others. So I did the Train the Trainer course and trained as a body language trainer and just loving it because it changed my life.
And I can see from already what I've read about you online and what I've learnt from you, even from today's chat, that non-verbal communication would have huge impact, not just in our personal lives, but also in the workplace as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about some of the work that you do around interpersonal communications in the workplace and how this work can really help those environments.
I was thinking of, if you look at the workplace, you get your managers, you get your colleagues, and then you get your customers or your clients. So I think for managers, if they can learn to be more perceptive and learn to read micro expressions on the face, for example, or posture when people walk in, it can actually increase their empathy and engagement. And so staff can feel more heard and seen if they respond well to what they see. For example, if a staff member comes in, and they say, how are you doing? And they just had real bad news in the morning. Go, yeah, I'm fine. And immediately you go, well, you say you're fine, but what I can see on your face is not so fine.
Yes.
And instead of just going, okay, yeah, have a nice day, you go, are you sure? Are you okay? Do you want to talk about something? And if it's a manager who normally doesn't do those things, your scale of likability goes up, your trustworthiness goes up, all of those kind of things. So you can learn to be more empathic or empathetic through that. For staff, if you learn to read each other better or communicate better and be more intentional in your communication, you will have better working relationship with people in your workplace. And also customer service, for example, when you're in a customer service position, you are the first impression of your work, your organization.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. For example, I was in a mall one day and went into the retail shop, and there were 3 representatives, and they were all on their phones, and I walked in and got no help. And I stood there for a minute, 2 minutes almost, without anybody actually coming to me. And I thought, if I was new to this company, I would immediately go, not for me, because there was no interaction from these sales representatives.
And of course, you would have been being a body language and non-verbal communication expert, seeing them engrossed in their phone. They're detached from you, the customer. And so how does that make you feel in that moment?
Well, you just feel that you're not important at all. They can't be bothered with you, so why should I be bothered spending my money in your organisation.
Wow, there's a powerful lot of knowledge that I can see bubbling away inside you. So for you, the obviously there's some tips I want you to share before we finish up. But for you, the kind of clients that you work with, so obviously you're working in the corporate space, so working transformational workshops for interpersonal communication. I hear you do a lot with families as well, so teaching parents and teens to understand each other, which is obviously, you know, a bit of your own personal story in there. I think everybody wants to learn how to speak a teen. And also you're doing a lot in that one-on-one development space as well. So give me a little brief description of that. What can people expect from you?
So when I work one-on-one, I will have I've got a little exercise that you do before the time. So I call it the zones of influence. And it talks about how aware are you of yourself and your situation, and when you meet with people, how much do you understand of how you impact that situation and engagement. And then I do, based on that and your goals, we will work out a specific way forward. So we will walk specifically about, is it about confidence? Do you want to upskill the way you do presentation? Do you want to understand more about yourself? Do you want to understand more about how to read facial expressions or non-verbal communication just in general? And then we'll do activities throughout the sessions as well. I will send you homework. I will send a report of what we've done each session. And then at the end of our 3 or 5 sessions, however many you decide on, I will write a report again, and we'll redo the zones exercise to see if you've actually been implementing the things that we've taught.
Sounds truly transformational. So final tip to share, if there was one key takeaway you want people to understand about non-verbal communication, what would that be, Elizabeth?
I think self-awareness is a big thing, because we're so keen to read others, but we're not so good at knowing how we come across. And then I think the one tip is congruency. So if I say to you, I had a really lovely day, and you see my facial expressions and my body language, but what I say is, or what you hear is different from what you see. Our brains are wired to believe more what we see than what we hear. So very important that your message verbally and your message non-verbally need to be congruent and need to be the same.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
And to find out more about how you can work with Elizabeth, or how she can come and transform the communication in your workplace, head to her website, details on the screen, peopletoolbox.nz. Elizabeth, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Monique.
Hi, I'm Rachael, the Smarter Mortgage Lady. I'm a financial advisor, and one of the things I love is getting people into their own place to call home. One of the keys to financial certainty is to structure a loan that works for you, your lifestyle, and your desired outcome. And that depends on a number of factors. When I work with you, I look at how you can repay your mortgage faster. And this depends on what your goals are. Is it minimizing the cost of borrowing, minimizing your exposure to interest rate variation, or creating a long-term debt repayment plan that is achievable? I take into account your plans and goals so I can create a loan structure personalized to your situation. I believe everyone deserves the chance to pay off their mortgage as fast as possible, and I use a unique process to transform your mortgage into a smarter one, with flexibility and certainty, as well as a spread of risk. So are you ready to choose when you pay off your mortgage? If so, then let's talk.
Hi, I'm here at the New Zealand Cat Foundation, actually in Caesar's Palace, watching him play. Very cute. What I wanted to talk about today is a lot of people, they have a cat and then they decide to get a puppy. Well, they might think this is a great idea because they personally would love to have a dog and a cat, but they need to be very careful. So a lot of cats just can't cope with dogs, particularly if it's an older cat and they're used to just getting your undivided attention, or they're not familiar with dogs. We have a lot of people who contact us saying, oh, we've got this cat and we've had it for 5 years, 6 years, whatever. We've got this little puppy and it's just not working. And now the cat started peeing all around the house. And quite frankly, we're going to have to drop the cat out because we just can't cope with it anymore. Well, of course, it really annoys me, as you can imagine, because, in fact, if there was a problem, personally, I think the dog needs to go back, not get rid of the poor cat. But anyway, people do some very funny things, but it's very sad. And, you have cats that are absolutely terrified, they're hiding under things, their personality changes, and as I say, they start exhibiting behaviour which their owners don't find acceptable. And that's a very sad situation, and I would hate to be in it myself, but I actually wouldn't put myself in that position. So before you do anything like that, have a very, very hard think about the personality of your cat and what that could do to your relationship with it. And while you're at it, think about the New Zealand Cat Foundation. If you'd like to donate, please visit our website, the nzcatfoundation.org.nz. We need your help.